Welcome everybody back to Veil of Sound with a very special edition. For those who haven't seen it, we are going to talk with Nathan Gray from Nathan Gray and the Iron Roses about something that he posted a few days ago, and something that I think is worth explaining. So first of all, Nathan, thanks for doing this here with us. Where do we catch you right now? Where do we catch you?
I'm at home. I'm in Elkton, Maryland. At home. It's little
so what
little
else is
tiny section of Maryland.
Today? Yeah,
what's
I mean,
that?
like Maryland is already small, right?
But... Oh yeah, tiny.
so what else is going to happen today? Anything special that you have to
do? No, don't have much today. It's nice. It's sort of a relaxing day. A lot of what I'll be doing today and in the coming however long is just sort of plotting out how to push this album, tours that are coming up, things like that, you know.
So the reason for doing this was a post on the internet and that you made on your Facebook account and on your socials. And I don't know if anybody or if everybody saw it. Can you please maybe like in one or two sentences explain what you were speaking about for our audience?
Yeah, so Rebel Songs has come out, my album Rebel Songs, Nathan Gray and the Iron Roses. And in the past several months, I've had a lot of inner turmoil, I feel, with things that went on with that album when it was released. And without getting too much into this aspect of it, you know, the licensing for Rebel Songs has now gone to Iodine Records in the US because they are doing a US release of this. Once that happens, and once we get into next year, and once I get into writing a new album, I will be releasing my next album fully on Iodine Records. End Hits and no. End Hits and Nathan Gray and the Iron Roses have parted ways, with the exception of, you know, what they still have of my music. Moving forward, we won't be working together. And there were a lot of decisions that had to be made there. And I think there was a lot of things that we just weren't going to see eye to eye on. And I feel like that post came from a place of being sort of upset about certain decisions. But then realizing that certain decisions were made because I signed off on them. You know, it's no one's, and that's what I want to make very clear, that nothing I'm saying right now is going to be talking smack on anyone.
That is also something that I wanted to point out. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very important to know that when things go wrong, when things don't happen the right way, you can't point fingers. You know what I mean? It's always it's always a bunch of people doing the wrong things at the same time. You know what I mean? And so, and at the end, it is my album. And anything that was done was not done without my consent. You know what I mean? And that's what that post was very much about, was about me, my frustrations with things that I felt that album was pushed to its most marketable points, as opposed to what made that album special. So what happened was the first two singles to come out were for the song Rebel Songs and for Million, which were very standard, like me things. And it was what was marketable about that album. Whereas Look Alive, Radio Silence, No Pat, I mean, honestly, the majority of that album is very focused on the reggae and hip hop influences and sort of a weirder aspect of what I'm doing and not so straightforward. But there's those two songs that are very straightforward on the album. And it seems like those were the ones that were pushed up front. Not only that, but there was a marketing sticker on the album, which had the words "Boy Sets Fire" about this freaking big on it.
Yeah.
And looking back at that, and you know, I did a little pushback on it, but at the end, it ended up getting put on the album, and there were taglines on that sticker. Did I lose you? Are you frozen up?
No. I'm here.
Oh, okay. There were taglines on there like "Gaslight Anthem" and "Americana" and stuff like that, which really misdirected what this album was about. And that was upsetting to me. And I was thinking about it, and then I was like, but you know what? I said okay. I said yes to that. And so I wanted to make a clear distinction on how I'm pushing my music from now on. And as I was doing that, in that post, I wanted to also make it clear that any failure to do so to this point inevitably falls on me, because I did not advocate for myself properly in that situation, and how that is not going to happen anymore. And that's really what that post was about.
I was wondering, I mean, like, maybe I see that a little different, because of course, all the promotion was done for your record, but I see where you're going. You are saying that the marketing was done in a way that is misrepresenting the album as a whole. It's not against you, and it's not a failure to push your album. It's a failure of pushing your album in its whole diversity, right?
100%. Absolutely. I think that the album was pushed well. I think that, you know what I mean? Like, it obviously got to people. I just think it was misrepresented. And as I said, though, that responsibility does fall on me at the end of the day.
Did you underestimate it?
Yes. And that is where we really get into the meat and potatoes here, is my own struggle with what they call imposter syndrome. You know, getting into worlds and into music that I haven't gotten into yet, and almost feeling like I'm not doing it right, or I'm unworthy of that change, or that I'm not good enough. And that's what really drove, I think, some of the decisions that I regret now, is me going, well, you know, maybe the reason why, you know, whoever I'm working with doesn't want to push these broader aspects is because I didn't do them right. Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe it's not, you know, maybe I should just stick to what I know.
So is it the way that you felt? Oh, now I see. You mean like you had the feeling that they didn't push it because what you did was not good enough, and that's what you reflected upon in yourself. Okay, well, first of all, I think that whatever and that also should be clear, whatever we say about the album, I still 100% say that it's a really, really good album.
Thank you.
Which, first of all, derives from your voice. I mean, like, I've been listening to you for near 25 years now. And every song that I've heard and every vocal that I heard, no matter if it's you or any other incarnation that you've been in, was something that I had the feeling that it's 100% coming straight from the heart. I know what you mean. But I also think that coming back to this underestimation of yourself, I mean, like, we both know that albums need to be marketed, right? And I think, I think you all, were you not aware that the diversity of the album is less of a unique selling point than, for example, a feature of Tim McElrath?
Oh, I'm very well aware of that. And the problem is that I shouldn't have cared about that. And that's the end of the day. I mean, that kind of marketing, sorry, but it's sort of bullshit. And especially in the place that I am at this point. I don't mean that, honestly, I really don't mean that derogatorily. I think that people who look at that kind of marketing and they're doing it the right way. I mean, it's like they're they're pushing things that are marketable. And I get that, but being the person I am and coming to a place where I just don't need that in my life anymore, and I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has a different way of dealing with things, and some people are like, hey, let's go for what's more marketable. And that doesn't make it wrong, but it's just wrong for me. You know, you see what I'm saying?
I know what you mean. I mean, like, and we also have to be clear. If your album had been more on the, let's say, Neil Young side of things, then that marketing would have been perfect.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, if that whole album had been on that, like even if it was more like Working Title or something like that, that would have totally made sense. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have made sense for the first one, for your first solo record. No, let's be honest, it wouldn't have represented. But for Working Title, it would have been perfect. So basically, to come to a funny point, you just did the feature too late.
Without a doubt, yes.
But
and I think honestly, like, what should have happened is that the album should have been pushed as it was a new band, as it was a new, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? It should have been like, if you pick up a new album and you want to share it with someone, but there's no prehistory to it, and there's no, you know what I mean? You just go, hey, this is awesome, and it's awesome because of this album, not because of what band this person was in or because of what other things it sounds like. You just go, holy crap, this is new and awesome. Yeah. And that's how it sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was saying that's how it should have been pushed. And I mean, we'll stick on this focus now. I want to also get into the huge Voice of Fire sticker, but yes.
Yeah, which is totally fine. I mean, like, nobody likes that band anyway.
Right. And that's obviously not the issue I had with that.
Yeah.
For everybody
listening, I'm the one who owns every version of it. It's 17 versions, so I got all of them.
That's awesome.
I got every version of After the Eulogy.
That's awesome.
The one album I'll take to my grave. But honestly,
so cool.
I know what you mean. But I have a question when you talk about that sticker. Do you think, and that is a little criticism from my side, do you think that they would have made a smaller sticker if it had been The Iron Roses and not Nathan Gray and The Iron Roses?
I'm not sure I understand. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like, the name of your band is now Nathan Gray and The Iron Roses.
Yes.
And, of course, having your name up front there, the connection to Voice of Fire is made in a blink of an eye.
Right.
I was wondering whether, if you had named the whole project The Iron Roses, would they still, I'm not sure if they still would have pushed it that way,
Right. No, I understand what you're saying now. It's hard to say, and you might be right. I'm not sure though. But the issue comes in is that I will say that issue is the only sort of point that I'll make where I do put a little less, where I do get a little, I put a little less stress on myself, because that one was really pushed on me a little more than it should have been. We are on the third solo album. Yes, and that's only the third full-length solo album. There are EPs, there's a live album. Come on.
Yeah.
It's enough. You know what I mean? Like, people know. The people who know already know. You know what I mean? And I had that argument a couple of times, and I feel like put all the other stuff to the side that I completely take full credit for. And even this, at the end of the day, I did sign off of it. I saw the sticker and I still went, fine, but that was the one thing. Like, the other stuff, I was like, okay, this sort of makes sense, we'll go with this. Whereas that one was the one I was like, okay, fine, if you're gonna force me to do this, fine. But that's the one that that upsets me. And I want to make sure though that no one thinks it's because I have any problem with Boy Sets Fire. You know what I mean? Like I get that
Of course not.
sometimes when I'm talking about this, where it's like, oh, well, you're not proud of that. Of course I'm proud of that. I love Boy Sets Fire. I love everything I did with that band. But come on, people, like, you know, like,
And everything that you're still gonna do with that band. But I know what you mean, and I also think there's a point in what you said. This is your third solo.
Yes.
Third. If they had put the sticker on the first one, okay.
Absolutely.
On the third?
Yeah. Yes. That is where the issue lies. Yes. Thank you.
Can you envision having done PR and promos for that stuff in any other way apart from the sticker?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I should have made more of a effort to fight for that other way. And that's where I take full responsibility. I think that I really should have had more faith in the rest of the album. You know what I mean? I was terrified of the rest of the album. I didn't know how people were going to take it. I didn't know how it was going to go. And I should have just said, that really doesn't matter. I love it. And I think that the first singles that should have come out were Radio Silence, Look Alive, even Fired Up, which is, you know, not as weird, but it still it's different, you know?
It's very different.
But it's upbeat, it's catchy, it's fun. It's, you know, there's so many songs on that album like that. And also I love Tim. Tim is wonderful. And he was so gracious to be on this song. I don't feel like it was necessary to bring someone else in to my song to make it more marketable. I don't feel like I will ever do that again. I think it's a little bit of it's cool when you have friends that you do music with, but I did that on Working Title too with Chuck. Now I did it on this one. What am I going to do on the next? You know, I think it was more cool that I did Million with Motzi, you know, where that wasn't like a huge name. It's just my friend who also does awesome music. That kind of stuff makes more sense instead of like using a friend for a marketing ploy. Well, I don't love that.
I mean, like, the question then is, of course, something that I have to ask. Mm-hmm. I hope that you didn't do it for marketing. I hope that you did it because it just fit the song.
Me personally, I did not. But I don't want to get into it, but I can't say that was really honestly the view of anyone else working this album.
Okay.
And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to put that out like that because I said from the beginning, at the end of the day, it is my decision. Mm-hmm. But that is something that plagues me after this, that was not an honest move. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
So now you're moved to Iodine. Is that also trying to take back a little bit more of a control over the album, over the marketing, over everything related to your art?
Absolutely. And you will see a very big difference in the rollout from Iodine. There will be a sticker on it. It will be very different. We went over it and you'll see exactly what I want to do with this album. And how I want to market this album and promote this. I think I like the word promotion better than marketing, you know, how I want to promote this album. And that is win or lose, you know. I can't give a shit about what's more marketable anymore. I need to pay attention to what is real and what's honest and what I feel is important about this album. Whether people think that's worthy or not, you know? And so you will see with the rollout of this, we are having a meeting on Monday with Casey at Iodine to really speak through all this. And he's been wonderful. about just going, hey, your vision, you tell me, let's do it, you know? And that's what we're going to do. We've already worked on a new sticker because that's one of the inevitables. You know what I mean? You're always going to have that sticker on the front where people will see it and go, oh, okay, this looks like something I'd want to listen to, you know?
Because they see the big name.
Oh, right. Well, and that's the difference between this sticker. This sticker is more going to say why this album is worth picking up, not what bands it sounds like, not what bands I'm from. It's going to say on it what they're about to hear, you know, and the joy and the energy and the message behind what they're going to hear. And so it's less of a marketing sticker than it is a hey, this is what you're about to hear on here.
So it's more like a description, right?
Yes, exactly, which I find much better.
Is it also some kind of depersonalizing the whole thing? You know, like taking away the importance of persons?
Yes, absolutely, and that's something that I'm definitely moving towards. Obviously, I have named this band with my name, you know, so there's going to be that in there. But bringing in the Iron Roses gives the band that I use more autonomy, gives them more a place in this album, and I think moving forward that will be a very necessary thing to this band, is making it a real band. I will be the people that you see in the pictures coming up, my friends. Into 2023, I will start making that the actual band, the band that is always with me all the time. Because I think I also got caught up in, you know, it's Nathan Gray, and then I would have sort of a hired band no matter where I played. And I would really like to stop doing that. You know, I want it to be a real band. I want it to be people who have a place in the music, and that's important to me.
One last question that I have to ask. I mean, like, I know I'm shitty for asking this, but haven't you learned from an experience that you had 20 years ago when you were on a major? Yes.
And that's not a shitty question. That's an honest question. And I have really grown to appreciate honest questions. It's funny, actually. I don't know if you'll know the joke, but every American band knows it, the German backhand. and it was there's this thing about folks in Germany who have this very honest approach to how they ask you questions, and Americans are not used to it. We take offense to it a lot of times. I have learned to really appreciate that. I find that German people, fans, they need to ask you things. They need to tell you things. If they feel a certain way, if they don't ask you and they don't tell you, they feel like they're being dishonest with you.
Yeah, we're not Hollywood.
Right. And I love it. I've learned to appreciate it so much. I have played shows where folks have come up to me and was like, maybe not your best show, you know? Like, and my immediate response, I want to be like, well, screw you, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you start to understand that they're telling you that because they actually really respect and love you, and they're going to be there again. But that one just didn't hit them, you know? But anyway, sorry.
Back to the question. I mean, like,
back to your question.
Ago,
yes,
you had the same problem when you were in the rat race of a major label.
Yes, and you are absolutely 100% correct. I should have learned, but we are human beings, and those same inadequacies, those same issues that we struggle with as human beings come creeping and crawling back every time. And that is actually why I made this struggle so public. Because when you do that, you sort of give yourself a no way out. You know what I mean? And accountability, that's the word.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've done that a lot over the past many decades, given myself that accountability to look at, or to even have my fans and friends go, hey, but remember what you just said a little bit ago? Why are you doing the same thing? You know? So that's part of what that post was about, is giving myself accountability to stop doing that to myself. Because whether it's a major label, independent, whatever, it's all the same thing if you're not advocating for yourself. I wish I had learned those lessons back then, but I didn't. And the thing is that when you get caught up in those things, and when it's maybe being presented to you a little different, it's so easy to fall back into those traps, especially when you struggle with feeling good enough. You know, and I think that what people don't understand about mental illness and self-esteem and things of that issue, it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how other people see you. It matters how you are seeing yourself. Yeah. And I think that so many people struggle with that, but they don't understand that even if someone is on a big stage and they have a lot of people who really love and support them, that we still struggle with those issues. And it's hard. It's so difficult to break out of old molds. It's so difficult to break out of old habits and things, fall into them again. Yeah, or not to fall into them. Actually, absolutely. And you know what's funny? I actually have said several times in interviews about that whole major label debacle with Voice That's Fire, the same thing. That was our fault. We signed on the dotted line. We knew like it wasn't the best decision. And here we are again, as you said, and here I am again, as you said, doing things that I knew wasn't the best decision, but I didn't know how to advocate for myself. Well, and I didn't know how to.
Isn't it always a question of consciously knowing and subconsciously knowing?
It absolutely is. But and you're right. I just wanted to be very careful not to put it in a way like I was being manipulated or used. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want it to come off that way, because even if it's subconsciously, at the end of the day, I did take the action of signing off on certain things.
Very honest way.
Yeah. And I just, you know, when things like this happen, you never want to smear others. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that anyone had evil intent in this situation. I just don't. I don't in any way want to besmirch End Hits or whoever else worked on this album, Uncle M, things like that, because I don't think they deserve it. I don't think they deserve to be spoken ill of. You know what I mean? I think that we all made a mistake together, and I think that I am working to correct that for me, and they are moving on to do their things, and that's great. I still support those things.
Well, Nathan, thanks for being so honest here. I hope that for everybody, I hope that everybody still enjoy the record. Absolutely. Rebel Songs. It's an amazing record. Also, the features are amazing. And the diversity of it is really something special. It's a different version of Mr. Gray. And we can only be looking forward to what comes next. Nathan, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me come on here and speak about this.